What's up, guys? This is Kephas. Welcome back to WoW Classic, everyone. We are still leveling in Duskwood. Great place to level up. And I figured today we would spend some time farming some Worgen up here in the forest and also these Black Ravagers. Pretty decent spot, honestly, because we'll get some good XP and also some leather, which is selling really well. This stuff sells amazing. And also, the main reason why I'm picking this is, besides the leather, I've kind of been trying, before I start recording, to find areas that don't seem to be too crowded. Because, I don't know about you guys, I don't know how it is when you play or what server you're on, but, it's middle of the day for me right now on Pagel, I think that's the server I'm on. Yeah, it's Pagel. And holy crap, there are people all over the place. Everywhere I go, there are people doing something, farming or leveling or something like that, and areas just get picked clean. It's kind of crazy to me that this game's been, how long has this been out now? Almost a year? Not quite a year yet, but we're getting there. And this game's still crowded as heck. It's a good thing, right? It's kind of crazy how crowded this game actually is. But my plan is we're going to farm here for a little bit, maybe try to finish up this quest, and then we're going to head back down across Stitches Road. That's what I like to call it. And we'll go back over, do some stuff at the graveyard, talk to Abercrombie up here, turn that quest in. That might be in an episode or two. I'm going to spend some time here for just a while, maybe a full episode, just getting some skins, having a chit-chat, and maybe killing some Worgens as well, trying to get that quest done. So yeah, that's the plan for the day. And it's actually kind of funny because, I talk about, this game being crowded, at least in my experience. Everything is anecdotal when it comes to, the player, the classic, player base. It's you would think at this point, everybody's out in Silphus doing the AQ stuff, which I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. But, every time I log into this game, at any time, I have to log in at different times of the day. My sleep schedule has recently gone through a massive shift back to normal because my wife was off work for a little while with everything going on, and so we were staying up till 6 o'clock in the morning playing Overwatch and getting up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, probably for a couple months there. It was a little crazy. So I would play this at late at night, or in the evening. Now I'm kind of getting up early again, early normal hours, playing this in the afternoon, and same experience every time. There are people all over the place playing this game. And it's really crazy. It's good. That's a good thing. It's good that this game is still seemingly really popular. I don't really hear a lot of people say otherwise. There's occasionally you'll if there's I'll hear, and I hate to say it like this, but people who don't play Classic, maybe they play retail, talk as if Classic is over and no one cares about it. It's weird. It's weird when you hear people say that stuff and then you play the game. It's wow, doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know. Classic is obviously it's going to come to not an end, but it's going to eventually, level off, or whatever. And the people that are going to play it, and then there's not going to be anything new coming in. So it's just kind of that's it. So it is what it is. But it's still amazing to me how many people actually do play Classic. When I'm on, like I said, there are people all over the place. I'm trying to. Oh crap. He's oh crap. There's just one. Okay, I think we can handle one. He's 29. Gotta be a little careful, and I'm already pulling threat off of him. So yeah. Okay, I think we can handle one guy. We'll see. Depends on how much he tries to hurt me here. Would really appreciate it, Woodwalker, if you would get his attention back, please. Pretty please. I think we're gonna outlast. Wow, I'm actually tanking this pretty decently if you quit resisting my crap. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's no big deal. I gotta be careful now. Yeah, getting closer to the camp and stuff like that, these guys are gonna get a little bit more tough, so I need to be careful. But anyways, the thing that I find, so this is what I was thinking about, and this is I don't know where this is gonna go. Lately in my in these videos, I've been talking about things that I like to put it, can generate discussion, and sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable because I don't want to upset anybody when I say what I have to say or offend anyone or whatever, but it's because it can bring out context and opinions that go beyond the game, I guess is what so like I understand when we talk about whatever we talk about, it's to generate discussion, it's to share my thoughts, my opinions, speak my mind. People are free to agree, disagree, but I hope that everybody can be respectful and no one has to feel offended. It's not the goal, but it's also not going to hinder the discussion or the ability to speak one's mind and have good discussion. Anyways, so the thing, okay, so I was looking up something. This is all anecdotal too, by the way, so this is just my observation, my observance. I was looking up something for Classic a day or two ago, and I went down a rabbit hole because I don't know if anybody else notices this nowadays. When you look up anything on Google, like, it doesn't just take you to, like, it used to, like, you'd look up, like, WoW Quest or something like that, okay? Or something about WoW. It used to just take you right to Wowpedia or, WoW Wiki, or, Wowhead now. More often nowadays, you go to Wowhead. Still get that a lot, but nowadays, more often than not, I get crappy, like, articles nowadays. Like, you'll look up something. I was getting a lot with Pokemon, or any new game. Like, anytime I look up something for a new game, I'll go to some crappy article that's like this long, wordy article, and eventually, if I dig through it enough, and I'm willing to turn off my ad blocker, I will find what I'm looking for. Or I can just keep, like, trying my best to search through, Google to find what I'm actually trying to find. I don't know if anybody else notices that. This is kind of a big monster, but we should be able to handle one. But I've been noticing that, right? So it's a frustrating problem that I get really annoyed, by. I hate how Google is nowadays. I hate the media crap. Anyways, the reason why I'm saying that is I was looking up something for Classic, and I stumbled across a Kotaku article, I think, and it just was saying it's very dramatic titles, like something like WoW Classic, maybe you can't return home. Something like that. It was really weird. And reading through the article, basically it was just talking about like how, Classic is not, it's not lasting very long. There aren't a lot of people playing it, is what it was kind of getting at. Like, people assume this would last forever, and it's not going to last that long. And I was like, and I'm thinking, like, I never thought it was going to last forever. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I think a lot of people knew the limits. I think a lot of, like, you hear these arguments, like, no, people misconstrue what a lot of the motive and the desire was for Classic. It was more about, like, preserving it, making sure it still existed, making sure it was still available for people who wanted to go back and revisit. It wasn't about, I want to spend the next decade playing Classic, right? Like, it's a very common misconception that people have. Oh wait, I'm not using my wand. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention. But it's kind of like a big misconception, right? A little bit annoying, to be honest, because, like, for one, like, looking up stuff and always finding these articles is already annoying. So I'm already annoyed by that. Two, I'm annoyed just by the perspective of a lot of these articles. And the thing is, so I was like, what are they getting at here? Like, what is the deal? I mean, it's fine. People, like, no one has to like Classic, right? No one has to like it. If you don't like it, there's not anything wrong with you. There's not like an ulterior, motive or whatever. But at the same time, I do think there are a lot of people that when, for whatever reason, it's a very weird thing. I mean, like, there are people that wanted Classic to not succeed as much as possible. Just like there are a lot of people that play Classic that want retail to not succeed as much as possible, right? And, you can't go by a lot of that. Like, trying to find an honest opinion about the game, it's really weird. It's like everything else in the world. It's weirdly polarized right now. But there are people like the weirdos are people like me who play both. There are probably a lot of people like that, or there are most people just play whatever they want to play. They don't say much about anything, and then that's it, right? And then, the reason why I notice is because I'm a YouTuber, and say, for example, I make Classic guides, and this is true, by the way. And I literally have a guy who goes through and, like, it's fine, by the way, but goes through and, oh crap, I'm hurt. Dislikes all of my Classic guides just because they're guides for Classic. And it's whatever, right? It doesn't bother me. It is what it is. I'm still going to make the guide. It's not going to stop me. Because there are plenty of people that want those, and plus I play it, so it's I can play whatever I want to play and make videos for whatever I want, right? It's just funny that, like, there are people like that just nothing to do with like the video. They just hate classic, and they hate the fact that, you know, like I will switch to doing classic stuff. There are people like that. So it's very weird. And just like I've had people when I do retail videos like, why are you still playing this dead game? And you're like, shut up. Why are you watching videos about this supposed dead game? Leave me alone. You know, like, people are dumb on both sides here. But so, like, point that I'm getting at, like, with all this is like, you know, you don't have to like classic. You don't have to like retail, and you're allowed to dislike classic, and you're allowed to dislike retail, and that doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't, like, there's no, like, I could not read into that at all and be like, yeah, that's your right. I mean, you can have perfectly good reasons to have a preference for whatever you like, but you can also kind of, like, you know, go into it like knowing that there are probably going to be some people that just hate it because they like the other one, which is really annoying. Like, you know, like, each one, like, the merits. Look, there's someone there fighting these wolves, or I think they're actually running away from the wolves. But, like, the right thing, like, there's no value in those opinions. Like, if the only reason why you hate classic is because you like retail and you think that classic existing is somehow a blight on retail or something like that, or vice versa, you hate retail purely because you like classic, that's annoying. Okay, that's not a valid opinion in my opinion. I don't think that opinion is very valid, but those people exist, right? So when I saw this article, and I'm like, okay, it doesn't surprise me, no offense, sorry to say this, but that Kotaku, for some reason, it just didn't surprise me that I would see a negative article about WoW Classic from a website like Kotaku, just based on Kotaku's reputation, right? I'll be just being completely honest here. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of media in general these days, and by that I mean news media as a whole. And I'm certainly not a fan of games media and journalism at all today. I'm really not. I you know, like, looking back on a lot of things, on some controversies around that way back when I didn't know what was going on, it all makes more sense now. And the reason for that is because I feel like games media in particular hates their own audience more than anyone else. I think they really do. And I think that they resent the type of people, the gamers. Like, I mean, every chance they get, they smear gamers, gaming culture. I hate to even call it gaming culture, that's weird, but just the gaming, you know, the gamers in general, like, just general, like, the gamers, I guess, like, people that play video games. Most people that play video games don't care. Like, I just play games, whatever. And then, of course, you have plenty of people who play games that are jerks. I mean, that exists for sure. That exists in a lot of things. It's definitely prevalent in video games because, like, there's two reasons for it. One, there are a lot of younger people that play video games. Two, there are a lot of anonymous people that play video games. So when you get into, like, online, you know, anonymity, you're doing like Xbox Live, or you go into a WoW dungeon with random people, people are gonna be more likely to be jerks. And I noticed that because, like, when I joined AIE, which is a large guild that had a standard for conduct, people were a lot more friendly, and that's because people were being held to account a lot of times. And it's very similar to, like, you know, people on the street. Like, I don't think that gamers are more toxic than people who drive cars on the highway, right? Like, you know, people, when you know, like, it's every day, people are flipping each other off, yelling at each other, cussing each other out. Look, there's people farming these wolves here. It's crazy. You know, like, that exists. It's kind of the same thing in gaming. It's because of the anonymity. It's why YouTube comments, no offense, can be crazy. It's why big Twitch streamers' chats are crazy, because it's anonymous. People can say whatever they want, and they can let the worst of themselves out there. And so it's gaming is kind of the same. It's always why I would say, like, I prefer the old way. I prefer finding a group of people to do dungeons with, because, you know, pugs encourage lack of cooperation. They encourage more nasty behavior because people are now anonymous. They can just leave and regroup and find another pug, and people are, in those situations, people tend to be more rude, right? So that's kind of the thing. So, like, in gaming, that you'll see a lot of that, because it's not because, like, it's nothing. I don't think it has much to do with gaming. I think it just has to do with the nature of how gaming individuals interact. I think that has a lot more to do with it. And I think that in anything, you will find very similar types of people. People, when they're allowed to be anonymous, can behave in nasty ways. But point being, in general, like, you know, there seems to be like a level of, I mean, ever since the whole controversy way back early 20s, 10s, the GG, we'll just call it that. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get too much going, but ever since like the beginning, right? Like when video gamers were dead, right? Which isn't true, by the way. That was wrong. But it was just a war between games media and gamers, and it still kind of exists today, right? Like that's still a problem. But for some reason, and I don't know why the context here is, but it just, when I saw that article that I wasn't even looking for, thanks Google, I was just curious, like, wonder what a lot of these big article sites have to say about Classic. And so I just did like a little search on different notable articles, I looked for more Kotaku articles about Classic, and I looked for Polygon articles, and I looked for, you know, other ones that I just knew the names of them, like the more prominent ones. What do they have to say, right? Just curious. And I'll be honest, I'd say like 90% of them were negative in some way about Classic, whether it had to do with the player base, or like, there was one where it was like, you know, the Classic player base is actually very kind. I was like, oh wow, that's nice, you know. But then like I saw another articles like, you know, the Classic player base, you know, grew up, or, you know, or like just they're over this, or this nostalgia only gets you so far. Like just all this, like basically trying to convince the world that Classic is dead on arrival, that it just wasn't going to last. Like, it's not going to last. No one's playing it. There's no one there, you know. And that seemed to be like the message. And I was like, you know, okay, fine, do what you want to do, say what you want to say. It's your right, but it's not true. Okay, I mean, I log in. It's not true. It just simply isn't true. And I was wondering, why is it that, you know, these sites are like this? Like, why is it that they all paint Classic, you know, as being this dead game, you know, or whatever, or toxic, or nostalgic, you know, whatever it is. Like, it is very strange, and it's very, like, this is why I hate media, is because it's, you know, there's like these really, like, they're opinion pieces. But they're presented like they're facts, you know, factual, and they all have the same, like, everywhere says the same thing, whether it's true or not. It's like they're all coordinated, and, you know, it's like, so you'll think this is really how things are, but then, like, so for Classic, the reason why I'm skeptical is because I actually play the game. And I'm like, I don't see what you're talking about here. I mean, I respect your right to have an opinion, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of your opinion. I'm skeptical of why you have the opinion. And, you know, like, it's like, maybe I'm looking into it too much. Because, like, I know Classic's not going to last forever. Okay, I know the player base probably isn't, you know, massive. Oh, this is the future. I don't think that. I never did think that. I thought, you know, Classic is going to be fun to have and know it's there, and you can play it whenever. And there are going to be people that are going to be hopping into it as long as it's available, right? I don't think it's going to be like, well, BFA is dead and Classic is where everybody's at now. I never thought that was ever going to happen. No, like, not going to be delusional. You know what I mean? Like, that's never been my thought process. But, oh crap, there's a lot of wolves. At the same time, I also feel like, oh, we need to just run. We're just going to run away from that. I also feel like Classic is way better than a lot of these articles would try to have people think. And I just can't help but wonder, like, why do they want people to think this? You know, what is the deal? Like, it's very strange. Because, like I said, maybe this is Google's fault. This is just what Google is showing me. Maybe there's more out there that I don't see. But this is what Google is giving me. And, like, again, I hate that, like, with Google, everything is an article nowadays. Like, I actually don't use Google as much. I use DuckDuckGo because I feel like I get better results. Google, it's so crap nowadays. Whenever I look up anything, it's always a stupid article. And this is always the case. And, like, it doesn't have, like, I don't want to get into, like, a political side of it or whatever, but, you know, it's just the same people from the same group that have the same mentalities. And I see, like, I don't fully like my conclusion, because it doesn't represent how I feel, because like I want to say it has to do, like, the reason why they don't like classic is because they don't like gamers, okay? But then that would imply that only real gamers play classic and there aren't really real gamers that play retail, and I don't believe that, okay? I really don't. I do not believe that at all. But I think that there could be a perception that WoW Classic seems to represent the traditional gamer stereotype, you know? Which is what the people hate. Whereas, you know, retail, I don't actually, may not have anything to do with retail. Other games, newer games, or whatever, tend to represent, like, you know, because like when a lot of times you'll see these same people that will defend, you know, Blizzard on like the Diablo Immortal fiasco or whatever. Like, it's, you know, because it's anti. I hate to say anti-gamer, but that's, like, understand what I'm saying. From their perspective, it's anti-gamer. It's anti-traditional gamer mentality that really does, like, really, because, like, what it is, like, you know, people just want good games. You know what I mean? Like, that's, people in general, like, they want the games that have always been good to continue to be good, right? That's, and that could be, like, good can be subjective, I understand that. But, you know, like, people just want there to be, you know, or, you know, maybe even good isn't the word. I think good is the word oftentimes, because I think there are a lot of bad games that people try to pass off as good because they're, you know, they're new, or it's what the companies want people to say. That's absolutely true. But I could at least say games that have been the way they've always been, and what, like, games that people have always liked to continue be the way that people have always liked them. You know, people don't necessarily always want things to change because they like the way things, like, why fix what's not broken? You know what I mean? Like, that's why, you know, that's why Nintendo goes back and makes 2D Mario games, you know, because they're still good. That's why I'm playing Link's Awakening remastered, because people like games a certain, like, just because, like, the thing, like, say, compare it like this, okay? 3D Zelda is not better than 2D Zelda. I used to think it was when I was a dumb kid. Now I realize 3D Zelda is just it's not better, it's different. It's a different kind of game entirely. So, like, one of my favorite Zelda games is still A Link to the Past. I don't think that Ocarina of Time makes Link to the Past outdated at all. It's a different experience entirely, okay? And so, like, just because something is new doesn't mean that it's always bad. But just because something is similar to how it's been, and that's what people want from it, that doesn't make it, that, you know, that doesn't make them wrong either, if that makes any sense. You know, so, like, it's I don't know, like I said, it could just be like me reading into context that isn't there. I don't know, but it just feels like there's like a desire to paint WoW Classic in a very negative light, and I don't understand why that would be. I really don't. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I don't know, like, you know, these are always, whenever I talk about stuff like this or anything, you guys, like, it's to bring up discussion, it's to hear other people's thoughts. You know, maybe, you know, could I be reading into it too much? Could it be, or could I be, like, do other people notice this kind of thing? You know, I'd like to know. I really would, because I don't know. I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand it, except that, like, there seems to be a general, you know, consensus that, like, people, like, you know, well, I definitely believe this, that games media hates their own audience. I believe that one. I believe that, and you'd have a hard time convincing me otherwise. And that's just from years of experience. You know, like, I used to say I would love to be a games journalist, like, back in like late 2000s. I thought that would be cool. I mean, that's, like, you know, getting into YouTube, I was like, maybe that's what I'll do one of these days. Maybe I'll make reviews. Dude, no way. I don't want anything to do with that crappy industry. Like, at all. Just being completely honest, like, I would never. You know, it's the most, like, anti-gamer, anti-consumer. Like, it's weird to see an industry that hates its own audience to that level, and that's why it's dying. That's why it's dying off. Like, you know, that's why you're seeing, you know, that's why you're seeing more YouTube content creators and streamers coming up, because they tend to represent their own audience more. You know, that's why, because those people don't. they people people that like video games read those articles and just be like, whoa, I feel like I'm being attacked. I feel that way sometimes, and it's, and understand, I don't like, I would love it if I felt differently, and or if I was wrong and games journalism wasn't this way. I wish that I could read a review about a game and not think that, somebody had a hand in why the review is the way, like that the review represents anything other than that person's genuine opinion about the game. Sometimes that's the case. A lot of times I don't think it is. I can't help it. I don't think that it's the case. Sometimes I think that it could be because the influence from the people that make the game. Sometimes maybe it's that. Sometimes there may be other reasons, because of what the game represents to them. I remember, and again, like this gets into something a little bit deeper than what I may want to, but it's just being honest. I remember when Far Cry 5 got a lot of hate because of like the type of culture that game represented, and like as if that shouldn't ever exist. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Whereas other games that weren't maybe that popular to the public were super popular by the media because of what they represented, if that makes sense. And you'll see that a lot, like other games that are loved by gamers, hated by media. And it's something that you see with like movies as well. And it's very strange. And like, again, this is like, I don't fully understand a lot of this. It's just an observation that I have. I don't have any reason for having the observation aside from like, I don't have opinions on a lot of these, when it comes to when it comes to gamers, like, or whatever, like I don't think of myself as a true gamer. I just think of myself as a gamer that has been playing games for years, and I want the games that I like to continue. But I'm also excited when, say, like, my wife starts playing Overwatch with me, and she's brand new to a lot of games in general. But like, maybe played Mario, played other games like that. But like, is opening is like, wow, these new games are fun. Like, and seeing games appeal to her that may not appeal to me, but that's fine. I think there's room for everybody, in the gaming world. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think of myself as any like, or like I like classic more and the people that like retail more. I don't think there's anything wrong with either person at all. I actually like both. I want retail to be great and I want classic to be great. That's me. I want every game to be great, and as long as it's, good and it's promoting, quality games and people are enjoying it and it's not scamming anybody, generally speaking, like even if it doesn't appeal to me, I'm not a big fan of a lot of fighting games. I'm not a big fan of Street Fighter, but I love when there's, like Marvel versus Capcom, those kinds of games. I've never been a big fan. But as long as those games are doing good and the player base doesn't feel like they're being cheated or tricked or into buying a bunch of crap and all that kind of stuff, like I don't care. It's kind of like sports games. I've never been a big fan of sports games, but I was always glad they existed. Right up until they got crazy into monetization and all that crap, and then people were like not getting annoyed because they feel like they're getting nickel and dimed, or when they like put political messages in their games that people don't want to see and like just isn't very consumer friendly. It's just like, what is this even doing here? I just want to play a game. I don't want this crap. Like, get this out of here. Then I care, because that's not very consumer friendly, is it? Like, it's very very company friendly, I guess. Like, so like I tend to not care, as long as the game is good. You know what I mean? Like, as long as the game is good and it's treating its customers right, that tends to be what I care about more than anything. So like, I don't have any reason for thinking either way, but it's just an observation that I observed. An observation that I observed, says the blind guy. But it's just funny. Like, it's a combination of like being annoyed that, for one, I can't look up anything without getting some stupid article, and two, half the time I hate what the articles are saying anyway. Like, it seems like there's a bias, or there's a I hate to use the word agenda, but there's something more to it than like just a genuine opinion. I never feel like I'm getting a genuine opinion from a lot of media. Like, I don't trust a lot of review sites. There are a few that I trust. I tend to trust individual channels on YouTube. Like, for example, YouTubers. I trust, you know, people that aren't like some big company, I guess, like they just represent themselves and they speak their mind, they give their opinion, and that's it. I tend to trust those more. You know, and people that are like more company folk, like I guess company based or whatever, I tend to not trust those as much. And that may not always be the best way to do it, but that just tends to be, you know, like, you know, when I watch, for example, if I watch, you know, say if I watch an IGN video, I don't always trust that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the deal is there. But if I watch like the completionist review a game, or if I watch Before You Buy, you know, or Worth a Buy, you know what I mean? Like, or those, I tend to trust those a little bit more because I feel like, you know, they're always coming from the same person, you know, and they're just giving their opinions. And sometimes, like, you know, they'll tell me this game is great, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't think that game was all that great. And other times they'll tell me this game was terrible, and I thought it was great. And then a lot of times they'll be their opinions about a game will line up pretty well with what I think as well. You know, like a lot of times you'll hear, you know, these games are great. Like I love a lot, you know, I love when I mean Angry Joe is one of my favorite reviewers. I love his reviews because the thing I always respect about Angry Joe, why I've always liked him, is I always felt like he gave his genuine opinion. And for like, this is how he really feels. There isn't anything beyond it, and he's fun to watch anyways. But the thing that made it great was he would give his opinion no matter what. This is how he felt about the game. And anytime I feel like I'm getting that from anything, whether I agree with it or not, I respect it more. You know, I don't have to agree with an opinion to, you know, respect it as a genuine opinion. And you know, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, but a lot of the times when I read a lot of these articles or whatever, I feel like there's more to this. I'm reading between the lines, and there's something more to why this is being said the way it is. And that's what I get from a lot of these articles. And so when it comes to Classic, I don't understand, you know, I mean, like I love this series, you know what I mean? So like, I love this game. I love playing Classic. I will eventually, someday, I will level up all my characters, and you know, it's no rush, right? That's the thing, is like, so Classic has been out for a year now. I've been playing the crap out of it and having the most fun. So like, I'm not going anywhere, you know, but it's just very interesting to me. So like, I would just love to know, like, what you guys think. Do you guys notice something to this? Anybody else notice what I'm talking about here? I would love to hear about that in the comments below. But you know, we've been fighting wolves and Worgen for a while now, having a little talk about stuff, and I hope, like, you know, people can appreciate the conversation. And we're gonna go turn this quest in, and I'm gonna make my way across Stitch's Road. In the next episode, we can go back over to the graveyard and get moving on the quest here. So I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.